The 2021 Mid-Season Invitational is kicking off shortly, and our Oceanic representatives have already flown over to Iceland to make us proud. Pentanet.gg have a couple of tough games waiting for them, though, at MSI, which will be kicking off on Friday, the 7th of May at 1 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. 3 a.m. for those of you over in New Zealand. And our first matchup up against the powerhouse from China and LPL in RNG. Not an easy one to start the group off.
Certainly isn't an easy one. As you talk about jet lag being a bit of a factor, we're going to get a bit of a wake-up call up against this powerhouse, as you say. This is an MSI champion who have passed already. Don't know what it takes to win this trophy, and they're going to be looking to try and exact their revenge and put China at the very top of the ladder once again. They had 16 best-of-3 matches, finishing the season with a 14-2 record. Nothing to scoff at, that's for sure. But it wasn't without a little bit of adversity, as their initial playoff match was up against Fun Plus Phoenix, and they were then dropped into the lower bracket. From there, though, Jordan, it was all roses and happy days, because they were able to take out Top Esports as well as Edward Gaming before exacting their revenge on FPX.
Well, speaking of that grand final, Skimmy, we do need to focus in on that a little bit for the LPL, because that is one of our featured matchups, the one that we really want to focus on for Pentanet up against RNG down in the bot lane. Praedyth and Decoy will have to deal with Gala, who was the MVP of the LPL grand final. Across those 4 games, he went 32, 4, and 19. Pulled out a couple of bangers on the Tristana, 7-0 and 6, 7-3 and 3 on those two. He also did sort of chime in with a little bit of Kai'Sa, a little bit of Xayah, so leaning on a very similar champion pool as to what we saw from Praedyth in the LCO. Maybe not so much the Tristana, but definitely feels like both players should have similar champions in the wheelhouse.
Certainly should do. A lot of these champions, as the meta have shown, is to be the go-to right now for big reasons like playmaking potential, the ability to try and get out of compromising positions, and overall just output a whole bunch of damage. You talk about the champions that Gala's already brought to the forefront and got that MVP performance on. We've seen a very much the same story here from Praedyth as well. Maybe a little bit of spice with some off-meta champions, the likes of Aphelios still being in his back pocket, the fact that he's not afraid to bust out Varus, which we're now starting to see more and more of. But you know, this is definitely going to be a matchup where he can quite honestly get a bit of a tale of, you know, how do I match up against some of the very world's best.
Hoping to see something new, maybe a little bit different brought out here by Pentanet, and that could be what gets them over the line against RNG. That said, the job won't get much easier for them when they do go up against their second opponent, Unicorns of Love from the LCL. Also not a shabby squad, so it could be a pretty rough run at MSI for Pentanet, but hopefully they can get this one over the line.
I mean, this is what you dream of, right? When you go to an international tournament, versing some very strong opposition, to really just see, you know, how big is the gap between all these regions? How far ahead are everybody else? And sort of what lessons can we look to take when we bring back home to OS? But as you say, yeah, very tough opposition. They've stuck around for a fair bit of time. The majority of their roster did perform at Worlds 2020 and had that breakout performance there to showcase, hey, keep your eyes on the LCL. We are a region to take note of. Maybe a little bit more of a humble result as their overall season stood compared to RNG. 10-4 in the regular split with an additional tiebreaker played, but as soon as it came to the playoff games, that's when they really blew the competition out of the water. Back-to-back 3-1 performances, really showcasing that they are the team that deserves to be here. And a player that loves to really rise to the occasion has to be Nomans.
Yeah, well, it's no surprise that you want to focus on Nomans. He was the player that picked up 3 MVP awards in that LCL playoffs. He is the mid laner, obviously, for UOL, and he likes to pull out a bit of the Victor, so maybe something that we can see there with a bit of a clash against Chaz. It's a champion that he also likes to pull out. But what I do like about Nomans is that he feels like he's got a very deep champion pool. We've seen the Kassadin from him, 12-1-7 in one of his semi-final games there. That was a pretty impressive performance, but also the likes of Cassiopeia, Vladimir, Silas getting pulled out by Nomans. So I think Chaz, the player that's going to really have to step up to that challenge in this mid lane matchup, is going to have his hands full with another difficult opponent.
I mean, he certainly is, right? You know, you talk about this this mid lane performance that's going to unfold. It's going to be an explosive one, because as much as you talk about some of these off-meta champions, a lot of the fact is that these players are going to be looking to try and ego quite hard. I don't want to know, no doubt about it. You know, you talk about champions that are going to cause that Kassadin, Cassiopeia in your face about it. The same could be said, though, for Chaz, who is a very proficient assassin player as well. We got a bit of a taster here in our own grand finals with the Akali, with the Echo. So no doubt both of these players are going to be showcasing what they can do and not looking to try and stick to the meta tendencies if they don't need to. that's the fun thing about group stages, when you can throw curveballs, when the games are short and sharp. It's all about looking to try and get that game-winning edge from the very get-go.
Indeed, indeed. And we know that when these guys do go overseas, the Oceanic representatives often step up on the world stage. We just have to go back to last year with Legacy when they played at Worlds, having such a strong, solid performance, and perhaps even the best of an Oceanic team ever in League of Legends. And look where that's got them.
Yeah, as you say, as a result, that entire roster then got picked up to play overseas. So the proof is in the pudding. The fact is that if you do well as one of these regions, that you have those massive opportunities to then impress and go overseas as a result, right? If you're looking to try and secure this as a going forward opportunity. So for Pentanet, new organization, but the players themselves have been around for such a long time right now. They're going to be ecstatic, the fact that they finally get to go over to a major international. BioPanther's already been there before, a second now for him. His first MSI, he's been to Worlds. So these players, massive opportunity, looking to try and tap into some of that legacy magic, and I think they have done with some of their hairstyles.
Yeah, well, hopefully they've been spending a bit more time in the scrim server than they have in the barbershop, because we know they're going to need all the help that they can get going up against RNG in that first match of MSI. For Pentanet, it kicks off on Friday the 7th of May at 1 AM Australian Eastern Standard Time or 3 AM New Zealand time. And against the likes of RNG, every little bit is going to help. So we do hope you guys at home are going to be there to support them. Skimmy and I will be in the Twitch chat, of course, to cheer them along.
Certainly will be. We've been a fantastic time there. I'm really excited to see what the boys from OS can do, and no doubt it'll be a banger.
Yeah, indeed. And we've already given our predictions. We both did go the way of Pentanet. You can give us your prediction as well. Make sure you leave a comment below and let us know who you think is going to be making it out of the group at MSI. Otherwise, make sure you're there at 1 AM or 3 AM on Friday the 7th of May to cheer the boys along alongside us in the Twitch chat. We'll see you there.